What's going on, guys? Welcome into Minnesota Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman for our weekly live show. Feels so good to be back in the studio, chopping it up with you guys live. I'm super excited. We got a ton of juicy stuff I want to talk about today, and I'm just overall very excited to get going. I already got a ton of real ones in the chat. Hockey Dude, Laser, the original Vikings Gangsta, and then Rocky as well. But let's get the comment section going here. Show off your purple pride. Give me a skull down in the comment section. I'm super excited to get going, guys. Got a ton of stuff I want to talk about, mainly around J.J. McCarthy, as there are countless rumors that the Vikings could be trading up for him. But Hockey Dude, Laser, Justin, Roger Bong, shout out to you, man. How you doing? Ton of real ones in the chat, and man, this Viking season's gonna get going. There's Eric Lapointe in the chat as well. What's up, Eric? Jeff Bartlett, how you guys doing? Caden, Brandon Sipe, here we go. And I got my man Trizzy Trace in the building. Let's go, Trace. How you feeling, man?
Feeling dangerous, baby. It's good to be back, man. It's good to have our Wednesdays back. It's fun.
Hell yeah. No, it feels good. I'm super excited to get after it today, guys. Ton of rumors around, J.J. McCarthy, which we'll dive into because I do think he's a polarizing prospect. I think people got a lot of different opinions, and we'll kick it to this. Would you trade up? This is not would you draft J.J. McCarthy at 11 because I don't think he has a chance to fall there. But would you trade up for J.J. McCarthy? Give me a Y for yes or give me an N for no. As Bulls Nation also in the chat, what's up with you, man? Rocky is saying no. Hockey Dude is saying no as well. I want you guys to stay tuned for my first segment here because I'm going to try to maybe not change all of your guys' mind, but to just because I feel like there's a misinterpretation on J.J. McCarthy right now, and I kind of want to put that to bed a little bit. But Eric is saying yes. Justin is saying yes. And Bulls Nation, great point. He's saying depending on the asking price, which I totally agree with because it's going to be different. Like, let's just say the Vikings have to go from 11-5 to go up and get JJ in comparison to like 11-8 with Atlanta. Like, I think there's a ton of different ways, the Vikings could go about this, but I don't think he's falling to 11. Actually, my man Trizzy Trace, he was at the NFL Scouting Combine, and Trace, there's almost a guarantee that he'll go top 10 right now.
It feels kind of like that's the chatter. I mean, what I was hearing, a lot of teams really like JJ, and he did do himself some favors at the Combine. He tested well, came in, I guess you could say slightly undersized, but it's like you can put on weight. You can get 100%. Muscular, you can get yoked. I think that JJ is a very intriguing player. I could see him going top 10, maybe top 5, but I could also see he could be one of those guys who just somehow falls.
We're looking around, it's like, we're picking 20 and JJ's still on the board. Like I think he'd go any different way.
I'm like JJ is one of the most intriguing draft prospects in terms of where he could go this year because it could 100%. You could justify top 5. You could also justify
second round.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Exactly that.
No, totally. But we're also going to get into my perfect free agency plan. Free agency kicks off Monday. I did this before on the channel, but with just the latest reports and just everything changing, I'm going to get a new perfect free agency plan. Kicks off this Monday. Vikings don't obviously have a ton of cap space, but I do think they can make some moves. And obviously, free agency for Minnesota is mainly going to be around Daniil Hunter, Justin Jefferson, and Kirk Cousins. You guys can even type their names on who do the Vikings need to sign in NFL free agency.
Alexander Mattison.
Madison got cut last week. No, we are not bringing back Madison. I hope not.
I saw an article say that the Saints should go and sign Madison.
Trace, you do not want Madison.
No, I don't. I want nothing to do with him.
We got a lot of people who are tuning in for the watch parties this season. You guys know Madison was frankly terrible for the Vikings. He had the most carries this past season without a touchdown with 180. But
are you serious? 180 carries?
180 carries, no touchdowns.
That's
he was
insane.
Terrible. Definitely Saquon or King Henry. Hey, I got one of those guys in my perfect free agency. L'Jarius Sneed. So there was a report that came out that the Vikings, so the Chiefs obviously tagged him. So the Vikings could look to trade him, and actually USA Today threw out an article saying that the Vikings could be a team that could trade for L'Jarius Sneed.
What about an Austin Poyer?
Jordan Poyer. Yeah,
Jordan Poyer.
Maybe the Vikings already have a ton of great safeties, and another free agent that I think is going to be out there is Harrison Smith. Eventually, I'm still kind of waiting on his kind of update about him getting cut as well. But we do have a super chat menu, and I want to unveil something pretty cool. So we are going to have a new raffle for the month of March and all free agents. We're going to be giving away a raffle item. So every $5 super chat will get you a ticket. But we have a Vikings kind of shot ski Hall of Fame board right here. So if you guys haven't seen these, you guys could put 2 shot glasses right here. Take them down, and you could take a shot. So I want to do it. Every $10 super chat somebody sends in, we're going to sign your name right next to the skull. And obviously you guys know how we do like Skull Bong, Skull Roger, whoever it may be. You're going to write your name right there next to the skull. I think it's pretty cool. This thing is freaking awesome. It also says Seeps right there. Shout out to Allie Barefoot for making this. This is absolutely sweet. But this thing is awesome. So if you guys want to get involved on this, $10 super chat gets you in there. And then I said, every super chat that comes in today, I'm going to go on a run after work. If we get 20 super chats today, it could be $21 super chats. I will go on a 20-minute run. If we get 5, it's a 5-minute run. Or if we get none, looks like I'm not working out after the live show. But speaking about the raffle item, this is what we will be giving away in our raffle item. It's kind of this floating Vikings kind of nightstand helmet. This thing is freaking awesome. I don't have it in the studio right now. We will be ordering it and heading our way, but I freaking love this.
I have a buddy who has one of those. He's a Bears fan, so boo.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
He has a Bears one. I'm not going to lie, it's sick. You can spin it around.
Really?
You can mess around with it.
See, I didn't even know that.
It's dope.
So you can play around with it a little bit, but every $5 super chat you send in will get you 1 raffle ticket. And it would be so fitting. The first name we're going to write on the Shot Ski Hall of Fame is my man, Roger Bong. Roger, I'm going to get you good real estate on here. I'm going to get you right next to the skull. So, Roger, we appreciate it. I already see the Skull Rogers coming down in the chat. Shout out to all of you guys. Roger, you're going on. Appreciate your support, as always, here on the channel. And then also Rocky coming in with a $10 super chat. Everybody get the Skull Rockies going in the chat. The double R's getting going here. But there you go. First 2 names. Might have to get a better marker and go over that. But you guys are on it. Really do appreciate you guys showing support throughout the season, watch parties, and obviously you guys, holding it down here on the channel. So really do appreciate all you guys. But yes, $10 super chat does get you on here as the original Vikings gangster coming in with a $10 super chat. I'm gonna write original gangster on this if that's cool with you, Vikings gangster. But appreciate it.
Could do OG Viking OG.
Viking OG. I kind of like Viking OG. I like that. We're going to do that. Viking OG. I'm going to get you good real estate up here as well, my friend. But appreciate you showing support on the channel. Viking OG going up top. Everybody type those Skull Gangsters down in the chat as he says, now that Kirk is almost gone, I actually don't necessarily agree with that. Can we stop this Kirk nonsense and get back the real Vikings news? I think this is just gamesmanship by Kirk Cousins' agent right now. The reports coming out that he could be moving to Atlanta with his family. I just think it's a lot of smoke to get, a better deal with Minnesota because, guys, think about this just face value. Vikings want Kirk back. Kirk wants to be back with the Vikings. They got to somehow meet in the middle financially, but I think it will ultimately get done. I think it would be Kirk's back on a 1 to 2 year deal. Go trade up and draft JJ. That's my dream scenario. But we will have a mailbag coming up here in about 40 minutes or so. We're going to get into 2 segments. I'm going to get into J.J. McCarthy, and then we're going to get into a perfect free agency plan, and then we will have a mailbag. So hashtag Vikings or Super Chat to get on the show. Love to see you guys get in there. Ligma, Bulls Nation, Eric, Lazar. That's a hell of a name right there, Ligma69. Shout out to you. But get a question in there, hashtag Vikings. But, guys, we're going to have the J.J. McCarthy rumors because it may seem like JJ wants to be in Minnesota. Keep your eyes out for that. And then also perfect free agency plan. Like I said, a mailbag as well. And if you guys are ready to get rolling here on the show, drop a like. Just go here and then intro. Yeah, but drop a like on today's video if you guys are ready to go. We got a ton of juice around J.J. McCarthy, so make sure you guys do stay tuned for that as Eric is getting it in there. Hashtag Vikings. Eric, ask a question. I would really appreciate it. Also, shout out to Eric. He said he's going to send me something, which is pretty freaking cool. Purple and Gold for Days podcast. If that is true that he's looking to get a better deal, then you can toss hometown discount comment out the window. See, I actually disagree. I still think Kirk will be more than willing to take a hometown discount. I am still in that camp. You guys could tell me any report that comes out there, it's just coming from his agent's mouth. Like, I'm fairly confident Kirk wants to be here. Just everything we've heard, the way he talks about the Vikings, even him going and getting grills this offseason and tagging Jefferson in an Instagram post. Like, I just think little tidbits like that, and just truly, I just really do believe that. But if you guys are ready to go, Trace is ready to go right here. J.J. McCarthy, is he a Minnesota Viking? Let's get after it. Does J.J. McCarthy want to play for the Minnesota Vikings? We're going to be breaking that down on today's show. After J.J. McCarthy this following week followed 2 Vikings players on Instagram, Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson. We'll dive into that all here in a second. But if you guys want the Vikings to draft a quarterback in this year's class, it doesn't need to be J.J. It could be somebody else. Send Kwesi a message. Drop a like on today's video. Maybe he's coming across this and he wants to catch the pulse of the fan base. If you want the Vikings to draft a QB, all you got to do, like today's video. So this is a pretty interesting tidbit that kind of came out after the NFL scouting combine. It was JJ following these 2 guys on Instagram. And listen, you guys may not, again, this could be something where it's like you don't want to look too much into it because, again, it is just Instagram. It is just social media. But I thought it was interesting that he followed 2 Vikings players specifically, and he's not really following that many people. He's only following 1,200 people. 2 of them are 2 receivers he could be possibly playing for. But I also want to share with you guys this clip from the NFL scouting combine where JJ talked about his meeting with the Minnesota Vikings.
It went amazing. Coach O'Connell led the whole thing, and just being able to see him in person, he was a lot taller than I thought, and Coach McCown, and just everything about what they were talking about, everything about what they wanted out of a quarterback is something aligns with what I want. And just being able to get on the board with them, have them go through their plays, it was something really special, and I enjoyed it.
My favorite part of that whole clip, by the way, is the first thing he said when he was like, Kevin O'Connell's way bigger than I thought he was. And I think people really forget about that. Kevin O'Connell is a solid 6'5", 6'6". I mean, he's played quarterback in the league. But overall, JJ's just raving about Minnesota. I think it makes sense on both sides. And there's actually another interview from the Combine where somebody asked, JJ, who would be your number 1 choice to throw the ball to in the entire NFL? Well, this is who he had to say. It was none other than Justin Jefferson. I will say this. They asked this to a ton of different quarterbacks at the Combine. I mean, Caleb Williams said Justin Jefferson. Spencer Rattler said Jefferson. Drake May said Jefferson. Jaden Daniels said Jefferson. Almost every single quarterback said JJ. Then he also did mention Devontae Adams and JSN from the Seattle Seahawks. JJ showing love to an Ohio State receiver I thought was pretty funny as well. But I do want to kick it to the bookmakers out west here. In terms of odds to draft J.J. McCarthy, this is where it stands right now. It's according to FanDuel. So they do have the Giants at plus 340 as the heavy favorite at number 6 overall to draft J.J. Broncos selecting 12th, and then the Vikings at 11, and then the Atlanta Falcons at 8, and then a dark horse right here, New England at 3rd overall. They could pick him, but I do think that makes a whole lot of sense. If the Vikings want to draft J.J., I don't know if he's going to fall on your lap. You may need to trade up and jump the Giants at 5th overall. But I do want to dive into some numbers around JJ and just kind of tell you guys the full story about who he is as a quarterback. So, big-time throw percentage in college. PFF rated this as like throws that make you say it's a big-time throw. So, a lot of this is just perception and how you view it. But J.J. McCarthy was 5th on this list at only 6%. Jaden Daniels was number 1 at 8.4. Big reason for that, him just pushing the ball downfield, throwing up to those 2 first-round receivers that he had there at LSU. But the stat that I love the most about JJ, and I think people don't really understand this, is how good he is outside of the pocket. If we're talking completion percentage out of scrambles, out of the main 6 quarterbacks this season, JJ was number 1, and frankly, it was by an extremely wide margin. When I was going back, watching some tape from JJ this past season, I think people underestimate truly how fast he is. When he escapes the pocket and an edge is in his face, countless times, he was dusting him. I mean, he would break the contain, incredibly easy. And I think that kind of gets me back to this misconception about JJ, where it's just like, oh, he didn't throw the ball a lot at Michigan. He had a high completion percentage. So a lot of people thinks it was a ton of checkdowns. And yes, that was true. He did throw a lot of checkdowns last season, but it was those off-script plays. It was the 3rd and longs, which I think JJ was a big reason why Michigan went and won a national championship. It's because of what JJ was doing outside the pocket. But also, not only outside of the pocket is important in the NFL, but also red zone. Red zone is key, and JJ was solid there as well. Bo Nix, by far the best quarterback in the red zone this past season. I mean, he threw over 18 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. But McCarthy at that second spot, threw for 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He was pretty solid in the red zone. He was really, really good in the big-time games against Bama in the red zone, against Washington in the red zone. Then you got other guys up there, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, Michael Penix. Drake May only having a 47.3 completion percentage in the red zone. I thought that was a little concerning and also shocking. I thought he would have been way up there considering his dual threat ability. I thought he would have been way better in the red zone. But after the NFL Combine, listen, the rumors were swirling around JJ. I think he absolutely balled out there, and he really put himself on the map to being a top 10 pick. And listen, I don't think he's going to get there at 11. If you really do believe, if you're sitting there, Kwesi and the rest of the Vikings front office, they're saying, you know what, I believe in this kid. Let's go get JJ, have him sit behind whatever quarterback it is for a year. You're going to have to trade up. And I may not even think, or it may not even be top 10. You may have to trade up into the top 5 because something tells me if JJ falls to number 6 overall and he's there for the Giants, I think they might take him. But before I give you guys my answer, would you trade up for JJ McCarthy? Give me a Y for yes, or give me an N for no down in the comment section. I'm going to make this the pinned comment on today's video. So if YouTube throws an ad break your way, sit back, let it play, answer today's pinned comment of would you trade up for JJ McCarthy? Frankly, I would. I think there would be no doubt that I would go up and get him because I'm always stuck in this thought process. If you would take him at 11 and you think he would be your guy and your franchise quarterback, you should have no issue trading up in the NFL draft. And listen, I understand. Like, it may be scary to trade up for a guy like JJ because the sample size really isn't there. Like, he wasn't asked to throw the ball at Michigan. He wasn't asked to put this team on his back, mainly just because Michigan was a great running team. They had championship aspirations. Didn't really have too much elite talent on the outside. But now you might be saying to yourself, Patrick, why would you ever trade up for JJ McCarthy? I got 4 reasons why. I think this is another misconception about JJ, that people just think he was a 3-star recruit coming out of high school, kind of worked his way up, and he just won a national championship, similar to a guy like Stetson Bennett. But JJ truly is an elite prospect. Check out his relative athletic score here. Following the scouting combine, he actually had one of the best 3-cone drills in NFL combine history. It's in the bottom right of your screen. He ran a 6.82, which was in the 95th percentile for quarterbacks, but also he weighed in at 219 pounds. That was a big question mark about him. How much will he weigh? If he's playing at, 195, 200, he was obviously, would be susceptible to getting injured, but he came in bigger than we thought. I don't expect him to be playing at 220, but again, that's still a step in the positive direction. And also check this out. The dude's been winning his whole life. It wasn't just at only Michigan that he was winning, where he was 29-1 as a starter. He also had a great high school record as well, dating back at IMG his senior year and back at Nazareth Academy, where I went to high school in Chicago, where he went 36-2. But also, he was a highly touted recruit coming out. He was a 5-star, and he was the 38th overall recruit in his class, and he was actually the 5th quarterback overall in this draft class. And it gets me to this point. And I know there's a ton of talk about, maybe JJ lacks some of, the dual threat ability that you see all these quarterbacks in the NFL nowadays that are having success that they have. I will say this. I think JJ is the 3rd most athletic quarterback in this class. I think no doubt it's Jaden Daniels. And then I probably go, even though Caleb Williams doesn't run a whole lot, I just think his athleticism in the pocket and outside the pocket, the ability to make edge rushers miss, I'd probably put him at 2nd. But then you get to the class where it's Drake May, Michael Penix, Bo Nix. I think JJ's faster than all of them. My eye test just tells me that if JJ and Drake May and the rest of the quarterbacks ran a 40, he would be, I don't want to say by far the fastest, but I'll put a lot of money on it that he would run the third fastest 40 out of this entire class. And I do want to get to this quote from Peter Schrager. Peter Schrager, he's a great NFL insider. He actually has predicted the last 3 Super Bowl winners. Just add a little more validity to what he has to say. But he said this. He said he went out there, competed, and threw the ball very, very well. I got a text from an NFL evaluator, very respected one, saying this: of all these guys, McCarthy translates to the NFL the most. He had an outstanding day out there, and I totally agree. Maybe not as much as a guy like Caleb Williams, but just overall his game, overall the way he handles himself, I really do believe JJ, his game does translate to, or will translate to the next level fairly easily. I think he's an elite prospect, and we already kind of touched on this, but JJ has won at every single level, even dating back to like middle school days when he was really winning championships for a 7-on-7 team at the national level. I mean, we already showed you guys, but his career record in high school was fantastic. At IMG and at Nazareth Academy in Illinois, he accumulated a 36-2 record in high school and then a 29-1 record in college. I know you guys may be saying quarterback wins. It's not a great way to determine how good a quarterback is. I totally agree. There's no reason, or there's no disagreement I can make for that. I don't think that's the most important part, but I think it matters. I think you have to put at least some juice and some backing into that he has won every single place he has gone. No matter the talent around him, no matter the situation, he has figured it out. And that's why I think once he gets to the NFL, he will figure it out as well. Gets me to this point also. The intangibles with the kid. The way he sounds behind the podium. The way he sounds in front of a mic. He just acts like he is a 15-year veteran in the league. And, there was actually a clip from back in his senior year of high school at IMG. Actually, our very own Marshall Green was interviewing him, and J.J. McCarthy was talking about how much he loved football, and he said, you have to give up everything else in your life if you want to be great at this game. He has that Tom Brady mindset. He has that I would do whatever it takes to win at any cost. And Schrager also had this report. He said J.J. was by far the best quarterback at the whiteboard in this entire class. He reported that at the Combine. I think he's an extremely intellectual player. Yes, he may not have as big of an arm as a Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, or Drake May, but that's not all it takes to be a quarterback in the NFL. I think intangibles matter a whole lot more than you think. A former Michigan quarterback, Tom Brady, proved that as well. Gets me my fourth point on why I would trade up for JJ. I think this is my favorite one as well. It's the unknown. It's who do we really think this kid is? Because, listen, he didn't obviously have a big sample size in college. Michigan didn't ask him to throw the ball too much. I don't think that means he can't go throw the ball 40, 50 times a game. It's just they didn't ask him. And also, if you're looking at the ages over the top quarterbacks here, JJ is by far the youngest. Actually, well, Drake May is 21 as well, but he's about to turn 22, and JJ just turned 21. And if you make an argument, like Jaden Daniels, I think he'll be quarterback 2 in this class no matter what. But my argument with Michael Penix and Bo Nix in comparison to McCarthy would be like, you take how these guys are right now. 2 years, Penix or Bo Nix is 3 classes ahead of JJ. If you say JJ in 2 to 3 years in an NFL system, in their weight training program, just overall getting the tutelage from an NFL coaching staff, if you don't think he could be better than these 2 quarterbacks, I just wholeheartedly disagree with that thought process. Also, I think this is an extremely lazy take that I've heard thrown out there. Fans who say JJ doesn't have a big-time arm, I just don't think you know who he is. I don't think you know who he was coming out of high school. When he went to IMG, it was an air raid attack. They were throwing the ball all over the football field, and he was putting the ball on the rope every single time. Just because Michigan didn't ask JJ to throw the ball all over the lot doesn't mean he can't. And I want to make that point very clear here. Just because Michigan didn't ask him to doesn't mean he cannot do it. The one gripe I will have with JJ, obviously this is a very positive show about him. If I make one point on where I think his game really needs to develop, I think the size, no doubt. But also every single throw I watched from JJ this past season, everything is on a line. It's always a fastball with him. I think he needs to get better at layering the football, but I think that could come with great tutelage in the NFL. But thank you guys so much for watching today's show. Wanted to get a full video talking about J.J. McCarthy because rumors are flying around. Cowherd put out a video today saying that he thinks the Vikes are going to trade up for him. Brett Coleman, another YouTuber as well, said that. So Listen, I think there's a lot of juice there, so I want to get you guys a full video. But if you guys made it to the end of today's show, just give me a skull down in the comment section so I know who all the real ones are. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys next time. Skull Vikes. All right, so let me know, would you guys trade up for J.J. McCarthy? See what you guys have to say. I just wanted to get that more out for you guys, or get more info out there for you guys, because I think I really do believe Vikings fans would absolutely panic if the Vikings trade up to 5 to draft this kid. And, you know, I get it. Like, you go look at his semifinal stats, you go look at his national championship game stats, like, there's nothing to write home about. But it's the intangibles, it's the prospects, it's the person you are betting on developing. Because the kid's 21. Imagine how you guys all were at 21 back home and are watching this, and see how much you personally have developed since you were at that age. And I think JJ's built to the right stuff. I think he's going to develop really well. We got LaShawn Jordan saying, I would love for the Vikings to draft JJ. Vikings fan number 1, what's up? How you doing? Lawrence Matter is saying, go get him. Eric LaPointe, my man, is saying, why for yes as well. And Tycoon is saying this, roll the dice. Why not? The Vikings are stuck in purgatory right now, man. They're going to be stuck as a 7-10 win team for the next 10 seasons, it feels like, if they don't make a big-time move. How do you make a big-time move? You go trade up for a QB. But I do want to tell you guys about our Super Chat menu. Again, every $5 Super Chat we get today will get you guys a raffle ticket where you guys could win this sweet little floating Vikings helmet. You guys can actually, like, spin it around. This thing is freaking awesome. So $5 Super Chat will get you entered to win that. And then also every $10 Super Chat, we already had 3 people join today. We'll write your name on our little Shot Hall of Fame here. This thing is freaking sweet. Got the Chat Sports logo and everything. It even has my name right there, Seeps as well. So if you guys want to get involved in on the fun, let me know. And also I said every Super Chat we get, I'll add a minute to my run. We already got 3, so it means I'm going on a 3-minute run right now. As Winding Pie saying, is Kirk your QB1 next season? Yeah, I hope so. I really do hope Kirk is back, because it also allows you the ability, you know, if it's J.J. McCarthy, to, you know, develop a guy behind him. All right, and also, guys, about 20 minutes or so, mailbag coming up. Make sure you guys do get your questions in there. Hashtag Vikings or Super Chat to get in on the show. As Juanito Jones saying skull as well. Yeah, shout out to all you guys in the chat, man. A lot of fun. It was fun talking about J.J. McCarthy, but if you guys do want to support the show, that is how you do so. I don't know, sweet. It's a good little logo, or I don't even know where I got that from. Google. But we're going to dive into a perfect free agency plan right now. Yeah, let's get after it. Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman. Coming up on today's show, we're diving into a perfect free agency plan to fix your Minnesota Vikings. Free agency starts on Monday. I expect the Vikings to be active, whether it's with their own players or going out and getting some other players. Expect Kwesi to be making a lot of calls during free agency. But I wanted to start today's show off with this. Let's recreate game day at US Bank Stadium. Get the skulls going down in the chat. I want you guys to imagine a gala horn being blown, and it's noon Sunday, Vikings, Packers, and all you hear is skull, skull. Flood the chat with skulls, and let's dive into today's show. So I do want to start off with the Vikings projected cap space. Right now, you know, a lot of different websites have it projected at different projections here, but the mean I found was $39 million, which it was a good amount to spend, but a lot of that will have to go to your own guys, and that's why step number 1 for my perfect free agency plan is you sit Kirk Cousins and his agent down, and you say 2 years, $70 million, fully guaranteed. All $70 million will be fully guaranteed. And then if they say no to that, you shake hands, you walk away. That is the max I will go. I will offer Kirk that contract, and I do still believe this. Kirk wants to be back badly. You know, we heard the reports that he could be considering moving his family to Atlanta. His wife is from Atlanta, and Kirk actually stayed there in the offseason. It was funny enough, a funny little story there. Kirk Cousins, when he was making $35 million a year, he actually stayed at his in-laws' house in the offseason to save money. Kind of also just speaks to who Kirk Cousins is as a person. But I fully do believe Kirk wants to be back. He wants to be throwing the Jefferson and Addison again, because he's probably looking back at last season and saying, if I didn't tear my Achilles, we might have had a chance to win that division and went on a playoff run. Kirk wants to be back. Vikings want him to be back. Make it happen, but make it on your price. Make him come down to you instead of you raising your price for him. Step number 2, and I want him back badly. I want to offer him more money, but this is the max I am willing to go, is around $23 million per year. I am offering Danielle Hunter, who is going to turn 30 years old, a 3-year, $65 million deal with $45 million guaranteed. But I also will say this. He is most likely going to be gone. Josh Allen of the Jacksonville Jaguars and Brian Burns of the Carolina Panthers, they both got franchise tagged. Who's the next best edge rusher available? It's Danielle Hunter. What do you need to win Super Bowls? Edge rushers. I think Danielle Hunter is going to get around 25, 26, 27 even per year. So that would be my offer, $23 million. If he says no, you're probably going to have to move on because I just don't think the Vikings have the funds to bring him back. And now the most important step on my perfect free agency plan. Step number 3. You extend Justin Jefferson to a 6-year, $180 million deal, fully guaranteed. I'm giving Jefferson all 180, whatever he wants. And the biggest reason for this 6-year, a longer deal, is because this deal will be an absolute steal in a couple of seasons. The salary cap just went up 30% this past season. It is going to continue to go up. I think we're going to be looking back in a couple of years and we're seeing receivers getting making $35, $37 million a year, and we got the best receiver in the league on a steal of a deal at $30 per year. That's what I would offer Jefferson. Obviously, he's going to come down to see if him and his agent would accept that. But let's dive into free agents here. My number 1 option for a Vikings free agent target would be King Henry, the running back for the Tennessee Titans. And number 1, you just got to sign him because I think the Vikings lack a sense of physicality to their offense. Who's possibly the most physical football player since they entered the league? It is Derrick Henry. And Derrick Henry over his career, man, no doubt he's an absolute dog. I mean, going over 9,500 yards on 2,000 carries. Obviously not the biggest dual threat back in the NFL, but still 93 touchdowns. And that's what Derrick Henry still is elite at, is finding that end zone. You know, we were talking about it earlier. Alexander Mattison, 180 carries this past season, 0 touchdowns, worse than the NFL. Derrick Henry would add that, and also you could complement him with Ty Chandler. You could go like almost a split carry role for the first 3/4 of the season, and then the last fourth of the season, when it's cold and you're playing in Chicago, you're playing in Green Bay, let King Henry eat. I think number 1, no doubt, if I had to pick a free agent, obviously a little bit of a flashier one, but I'd go King Henry. Number 2 for me. My second favorite free agent out there, Christian Wilkins. And this is going to cost you a pretty penny, maybe around $25 million per year. But I really do believe that this would be the number 1 kind of player that the Vikings could bring in to take the defense to the next level. Because the Vikings D-line last season, I love Harrison Phillips. Great dude and everything. He was our Walter Payton Man of the Year and all that. But he just frankly wasn't that good. And also this key fact here, Vikings defensive coordinator, Brian Flores, drafted him when he was in Miami. So maybe Christian Wilkins is looking around and saying like, "Hey, I could go play for the guy that drafted me, familiar with his system." He had a great year for Flores as well. But the thing I love about Christian Wilkins the most is he is obviously an elite run stuffer. He can take on double teams, but he can also get pressure from the interior. I mean, us Vikings fans know that's the thing that drives us crazy about Kirk Cousins is how poorly he handles interior pressure. Well, let's get one of those guys. Let's go get Christian Wilkins, who had 9 sacks last season, 10 TFLs, and 23 quarterback hits. I think he would be an absolute dog on this D-line and really help this defense out. I got 2 more guys I want the Vikings to sign here in a second, but you let me know. Who do the Vikings need to sign? Who is the one player that would really change life here in Minnesota? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section. Now, number 3 for me is Leonard Floyd. The veteran edge rusher was just playing with the Buffalo Bills, and this is kind of insurance if you do not bring back Danielle Hunter, which I do think is unlikely. I don't think the Vikings also have enough money to go get, a big-time edge in free agency. Here's a cheaper option, Leonard Floyd. And, you guys see the stats right here. The dude's got 9+ sacks over the last 4 seasons. And also, you see the games played listed there, 17, 17, 17, and 16. He stays healthy, which obviously, you need him to do that at that edge spot, considering the Vikings are extremely, extremely thin. But this also offers you insurance. If you go trade up for a quarterback as well, you wouldn't necessarily need necessarily draft a guy. I think this is great insurance. Like I was saying, if you do lose Danielle Hunter, which is looking more and more likely every single day. But, the thing is with Hunter, I'll make this point real quick. I would almost be more willing to offer Hunter 25, 26 mil a year if it also meant you could get a guy you really like an edge rusher in like the 3rd or 4th round. Like, because then it would also give you insurance, because obviously Hunter's, injury history. That's also a big reason why I would be scared to pay him so much. Like, I think that would be a good combination. Let's just say you lose him and you don't really have an edge rusher you like in the draft. I think Leonard Floyd would be a great insurance option. I got one more name coming to you guys here in a second, but I first want to tell you guys about this sweet deal we have going on. We got hoodies on sale. They're up to 50% off right now. 50% off. If you guys head to chatsports.com/Vikings hoodie, I actually got this one using that link as well. I'll put the link for this in the comments section and description of today's show. They got a ton of cool different choices. Obviously my favorite fit to wear personally is the sweatshirt and short combo when it does get warm out. If you guys still want to be rocking Vikings gear, this is a great way to do so. Hoodies up to 50% off. Chatsports.com/Vikings hoodie. Click that link. Get yourself some Vikings gear today. All right, let's stick in the trenches here. And also, I just noticed all 4 of these are adding some sort of physicality to the Vikings, which I do like. But it's actually signing Lions offensive guard Jonah Jackson. And Jonah Jackson, he's not one of the top offensive guards in this class. He's more middle of the pack. He would be a financially kind of more responsible choice, a cheaper option. But let's just say the Vikings do lose Dalton Reisner, which may be likely. I think this guy would be a great replacement. His PFF stats this past season, 59.7 overall, only giving up 2 sacks on the entire year in 798 snaps, which is pretty damn good. 5 penalties, gave up 8 QB hits and 14 QB hurries as well. But Jonah Jackson, I think, would be great insurance at that interior offensive line. Also will be able to, step in if Ed Ingram, does turn out to be a complete bust. But that was my free agency plan. I offer those 3 contracts to Kirk, Daniil, and Jefferson. Then I go sign those 4 guys. Let me know, though. Grade my free agency plan, A, B, C, D, or F down in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for watching today's show. As always, Skol Vikes. All right, let's do it. Grade my Vikings free agency plan. As Joshua Williams saying, man, Vikes better sign Hunter, bro. Yeah, I'm with you, Josh. I really wish they would. Rocky saying Hunter might get 30 mil a year. Not sure I'll go that high. Yeah, I wouldn't go that high either for Hunter. Maybe if it's like, let me throw this out there. What if it's a 1-year deal? What if the Vikings have extra cap space this season and you go 1 for 30 with Daniil Hunter? Would you do it? I don't know. The Vikings, Kwesi's got a ton of difficult choices to make here. And, that's why also with the Vikings free agency is you can't really figure out what you're doing until you figure out Kirk Cousins. That is the #1 domino of the fall, honestly, in the entire NFL. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Kwesi does it. But XQ coming in saying Vikings better sign Darius Williams next week. Yeah, it'll be a good pickup. Bulls Nation saying Vikings, Tre'Davious White just got released. Should Minnesota go after him? Wow, Tre'Davious White did get released. Yeah, appreciate it, Bulls Nation. Yeah, if you want to get that on there, it's the all caps one. Wow, Bulls Nation, I just saw that. That is interesante. Interessante right there. Yeah, Trey White on the market. They're making a ton of big moves, Buffalo, today. Wow. That's a big-time move. That's interesting. But also, we do have the Super Chat menu, like I was saying. $5 Super Chat does get you a raffle ticket in there. And then also, every $10 Super Chat gets you on our Shot Hall of Fame. Already had 3 people get on there. Also, if you guys want to, be a friend to somebody in the chat who maybe can't Super Chat, you guys can send in a 10 and get their name on there as well. It's Ty Man the Buckeye. What's going on, baby? But here's our raffle item as well. Pretty freaking cool. So every $5 Super Chat gets you a ticket. Nobody's sending a 5 yet. So just saying, if you would send in a $5 Super Chat right now, this would actually be in your back pocket. Yeah, we're going to get in a mailbag right now. If you guys want to skip the line, you guys can Super Chat to get on the show. Got a good amount of questions in there. So if you guys really want to, get your question up there, send in a Super Chat. Best way to do so. Rocky is saying he's great into C. Let Kirk go. Yeah, you're just playing with fire if you let Kirk go. And maybe you're under the impression NFC North is going to be stacked next season with the Lions, Bears, and Packers all getting significantly better. Maybe just say maybe the Vikings bottom out a little bit and then move on to the next season. as Avonte Maddox just got released by the Eagles as well. Ton of cuts coming in today. Don't be shocked if we get a Harrison Smith cut here soon, everybody. Or a restructure. Actually, we'll say restructure. But we're going to dive into a mailbag right now. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Hashtag Vikings or Super Chat to get in on the show. We got a mailbag heading your way on today's edition of Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and welcome in. This is my favorite part of what we do here at Chat Sports. When we go live, we answer questions directly from the fans. And we're going to start it off with this one from Vikes Fan for Life, as he said, did you see the Vikings could trade for L'Jarius Sneed? Yes, I did see this report. So L'Jarius Sneed was franchise tagged by the Kansas City Chiefs, so he won't be hitting free agency. You won't be able to sign him. But USA Today actually put out a report that the Vikings have already contacted the Chiefs and have shown interest in trading for L'Jarius Sneed. And there's no doubt, L'Jarius Sneed, I mean, even in the Vikings game last season, he was great against Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. But here are stats from 2023. He had 78 tackles, 14 PBUs, and a fumble recovery. Pretty good season there out of Sneed. And then also some more coverage stats for him. He only allowed a quarterback rating of 56, and then also had a completion percentage allowed of 51.9, but no touchdowns allowed heading L'Jarius Sneed's way. But this is my take on L'Jarius Sneed. And I know a lot of people were saying, yes, let's go get L'Jarius Sneed. No doubt. He is a good football player. That's not what I'm trying to argue. He's an absolute dog. But with where the Vikings are, I am not willing to give up draft capital for a position in cornerback that, yes, it is important, but it's probably not in the top 5 most important positions on the football field as the way the NFL is starting to shake out nowadays. So, yeah, if we could sign L'Jarius Sneed or get him for an absolute steal of a deal, I'm in, but I just feel like the Chiefs' asking price for Sneed will be just a little too high. So I'm probably out. Obviously, if you could throw him a 3rd or 4th round pick, sign me up, but you're also going to have to pay the man a good amount of money as well. So I'm probably out on L'Jarius Sneed, but I'm assuming a lot of you guys are going to disagree with this. So would you trade for L'Jarius Sneed? Give me a T for trade or give me a P for pass down in the comments section. Really, really curious to see what you guys have to say. Coming in here, a $10 super chat from my man, Original Viking Gangsta, saying, now that Kirk is almost gone, can we stop this Kirk nonsense and get back the real Vikings news? Listen, I appreciate the super chat and everything, Original Viking Gangster, but I actually disagree with you. I think Kirk still wants to be back in Minnesota, and I think he will be back in Minnesota. I think it's just simple like this. You have a side. Kirk Cousins can't. They want him to get paid as much as they can, and they want to be back in Minnesota, no doubt. Correct? Yes. And also the Vikings. They want Kirk Cousins back 100%. They have made that very, very clear. The way Kevin O'Connell talks about him, I think when both sides want a kind of common end ground, they will find a way to do so. So what would my deal be for Kirk Cousins? I'm going to offer Kirk Cousins a 2-year, $70 million deal, fully guaranteed. And then if he says no, then I think you should move on. But that would necessarily be the deal that I offered to Kirk Cousins. So I don't know if he would accept this. I think all the smoke about him moving his family to Atlanta is just that smoke coming from his agent to drive his price up. I don't think Kirk wants to go play for the Falcons. I just really find that hard to believe. I think Kirk is comfortable in Minnesota. I think he's going to want it to work out. And I promise you this, when Kirk extends with the Minnesota Vikings, we will be going live here on the channel, and I will take my victory lap on the team-friendly deal that Kirk Cousins signs. But let's get the Bulls Nation here. As he says, Tre'Davious White just got released. Should Minnesota go after him instead of going after a corner in the draft? Great point. This actually just happened about 30 minutes ago from when we were filming this. Trey White just got released, and definitely, I mean, the Vikings have a need for a true CB1. Obviously, Trey White is past his prime, had some big-time season-ending injuries over the past couple of seasons, but he's still a hell of a corner. And if you could go Trey White, Byron Murphy, and then Mekhi Blackman, and Caleb Evans working in there, I feel a whole lot more confident about this cornerback group than I would feel with, Byron Murphy being the true one. So Tre'Davious White, 100%. Roger Bond coming here saying, how much of the Vikings' future are you willing to spend on JJ? I'm not sure if you're talking, I'm pretty sure you're talking McCarthy on this one, Roger Bong, in terms of trading up in the draft. Let's just say we'll take 5, for example. Los Angeles Chargers. I think that's where you're going to need to trade up to go get JJ. I think you would need to give up, obviously, your 11th overall pick, your future first from next season. I also think you're going to have to give up your second-round pick this year at 42nd, and then also a future third. That's probably as much as I would want to give up, and also that may not be enough. I think quarterbacks should be flying off the board early, a lot earlier than most of us do expect. I could see 4 quarterbacks going in the top 5 of this draft, and then Marvin Harrison, no doubt. I would be willing to give up a first and a second and a third, and obviously our own first for this season. But good question, Roger. I really do appreciate it. Coming in here from Kwesi's Burner. What's up, Kwesi? How you doing? He says, who is a sleeper QB the Vikings could draft? I absolutely love this question because there is one guy that I absolutely love, and that is Spencer Rattler, the quarterback of South Carolina. This guy got a ton of hype coming after the Senior Bowl, and once he does have his pro day, the hype will continue because this guy's got a big-time arm. He can touch every blade of grass on the football field. Yes, there was character concerns when he was in high school in his freshman year at Oklahoma, but those have also been put to bed. That's been an old take. He was voted a captain by his teammates, and all of his teammates at the scouting combine raved about him being a leader and just an overall, good dude. So Spencer Rattler in the 3rd round, sign me up. If you don't like any of the quarterbacks in this year's draft at the top of it, and you do bring back Kirk Cousins, I would love to have Rattler sit behind Kirk for a year or two, no doubt about it. But we'll get to more questions here in a second, but I do want to tell you guys about the sweet deal we have going on. We got hoodies for 50% off. If you guys head to chatsports.com/Vikings hoodie, you guys can get hooked up today on a sweet Vikings hoodie. And listen, my favorite combination, obviously the weather is getting warmer here, but my favorite combo to wear in terms of Vikings, or in terms of just what I like to wear, is a sweatshirt and a short combo. If you guys still want to rock Vikings gear, make sure you guys check out this link, chatsports.com/Vikings hoodie. Get hooked up today. Coming in from Asher Ackley saying, do you think the Vikings will trade up? If so, what QB will they get or player? I think it's J.J. McCarthy. I think if there's a quarterback they're trading up for, it is going to be J.J. It could also be Drake May. So Josh McCown, who was just hired as the quarterback coach for Minnesota, he coached Drake May. He was his head coach in high school. Maybe Drake May starts falling in this year's draft, and he's there at 5, and the Vikings are like, you know what, screw it, Chargers, we'll send you whatever we want for Drake May. But I think the Vikings will trade up? Yes. I think I guarantee the Vikings will not be not guaranteed. The Vikings will not be drafting at 11th overall. I think they're going to end up, in that top 6, top 7 range. Kicking it to Joey here is saying, what contract we re-signed Danielle Hunter for? What I said, 3 for $30 a year. See, the only thing is with giving Danielle Hunter $30 million a year, one, that's just a lot of money for an edge rusher. They'll make him one of the highest paid in the entire NFL. And I think Danielle Hunter, even though he hasn't had a ton of injuries, he has had 2 season-ending surgeries. And listen, Danielle Hunter is one of my favorite players on the Vikings. He was kind of, one of the first guys where I really fell in love with the defensive side of the football when I was growing up watching this football team, and just watching him develop was one of the most beautiful things. He was such an unorthodox pass rusher, and now he comes into the league and he is so refined. But 3 for $30 a year, I'm probably saying no on that. Coming from X-Cute Anime, saying the Jags just cut Darius Williams. Should the Vikings go get him? So, listen, I think the Vikings are in an interesting spot with the cornerback position. Darius Williams is 30 years old. He's got a ton of NFL experience, and I've said this, I want the Vikings to add more experience in that secondary because I do expect Harrison Smith to either be restructured or cut just to have some cap savings for Minnesota. But Darius Williams, good corner, obviously past his prime a little bit here, but to get a 30-year-old, a true veteran in that unit, I would definitely do that. Bulls Nation saying, should the Vikings go all in and get Joe Mixon? So Joe Mixon was also just cut by the Cincinnati Bengals as well. I'm probably out on him. I do think Joe Mixon is a cooked product at this point. I don't think he's the same guy that he once was. And if the Vikings are going to go running back, I'd rather have them go a different direction. Go in the draft. Or if you are going to sign a guy, go all in on a running back like Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley. But if you guys made it to the end of today's show, just give me a skull down in the comment section. Let me know where all the real ones are at. I want the comment section looking like US Bank Stadium on game day. So give me a skull. And appreciate you guys watching today's show. As always, Skol Vikes. Alrighty. Shout out to everybody tuning in. Had super chats rolling in. It's from a MVP. You want Oklahoma guy, but yeah. Scolger saying, put Eric on the board. Scolger, I appreciate it. You were doing this all the time during the season. I got you on Twitter, so I'll DM you after this. Appreciate it, Scolger. Thank you so much. Eric, you're going on. Dude, I got a notification from this fake Twitter account saying the Vikings agreed to a deal with Kirk Cousins right there. When I was like, yes. I was like, that would be something. I know. Eric Lapointe, you're on. And then also Vikings fan number 1, you're going on there as well. You guys are on there. Shout out to Scolger putting you guys on. And then Roger Bong putting Ty Man the Buckeye on. Ty Man the Buckeye, let's go. Chat Sports legend here. Roger, thank you so much. Hopefully that ball that you have as your profile pic gets sent to you soon. It should be getting there shortly. Roger, we appreciate it. But Ty Man, you're going on there. Ty Man the Buckeye. Let's go. Shout out to all you guys already filling up this board right here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's show. We are going to sign off here. We got a lot to get to here at the Chat Sports Studios. We're going to be going live on our Saints channel, actually. If you guys want to hang out, tune in, listen to me and Trace talk some shop as well. You guys could do that. But really do appreciate everybody tuning in today. We got 6 Super Chats today, so I'm going on a 6-minute run after work. Hopefully I can get to a mile. Hopefully hopefully I do. That would be, there is a 1% chance that happens. There's a 1% chance that happens. There might be a 0. But really do appreciate it. Everybody who got their name on the board. Shout out to Bulls Nation, Vikings fan, Eric, Roger Bong, Great Grand, everybody. Seriously, thank you so much. And we'll see you guys next time. As always, Skol Vikes.